Welcome to your Chordal guitar lesson of the week. Today I want to talk about the importance of harmony in music and in writing your own songs. And this lesson is based on my last video from a few days ago where I pick one single riff and I make 4 moods for the same song just by changing the chords underneath. So I want to show you how this works and how you can become good at it. This is something that is done mostly in jazz reharmonizations or things like that. They are so good to change the mood or change how a song sounds or how a melody sounds by just changing the chords underneath. And this is something so handy to master if you want to choose the right mood for a song that you are writing. So I'm gonna talk about so many concepts in this lesson, so please use the cards in the upper corner when I say it, because it's going to help tremendously. You can navigate between different lessons to really understand all the concepts that I'm talking about. So first of all, go see my video from a few days ago, 1 riff and 4 different moods, to have a context on what we are talking about here. Okay, so it starts with a cluster chord that sounds like this. This is a very difficult chord to play. You could play it here alternatively. It's easier to play. But I liked the timbre of the chord more here, so I decided to play it here with a very big pronation of my hand, but I'm just looping it for 2 bars, so it's uncomfortable, and then I can leave it. If you want to learn more about timbre of the chords, it's here, okay? So the most important thing when you want to reharmonize or choose different chords for a same melody is to link each of the notes of your melody or your riff to a function within a key or on top of a chord. So with this chord right here, if I assume that the lowest note here is my root, so that is in a key of C sharp. I don't know if it's C sharp major or minor yet, but I know that the key is C sharp. I can deduce, or I can give a function to each of the other notes of my chord here. So if this chord is the root, the second one is the second, because if I play a C sharp scale, this note is the second note of a C sharp scale. So that would be the root, the second, this would be a major 6th, and the last note would be a flat 7th. So I know that if I play in the key of C sharp, whether it's major or minor, I know that I have a major 6th but a flat 7th. So I could use a Dorian mode, I could use a Mixolydian mode. So this is going to sound dreamy or epic a little bit because you choose a key that is tied to certain note functions, right? So this is just the principle of tying notes to a certain function within a key. So let's analyze all the moves that I created in my song. So I started by playing in the key of B major. So if I play a B major 7 chord, by the way, this shape with the thumb on top is a shape that I show you on my lesson on thumb chords. If I play this melody on top of a B major chord, this is going to drastically change the sound of my cluster chord, because now the notes all have different functions. So now this first note is not the root anymore, because compared to the B note, this is now a 2nd or a 9th. This note is now the major 3rd. This note is now the major 7th. And this note is the root. So my cluster chord here is now 2nd, major 3rd, major 7th, and root. So if I play all of these notes on top of a B major chord, this is going to sound super consonant and super happy. And then I play a E major chord, which is just the 4th degree in a B major key. So this is why this version sounds super happy. But if I pick different kinds of chords, this is going to sound totally different. So the second version, I use a G sharp minor 9 chord. More about minor 9 chords here. So if I tie all of my notes to a G sharp minor key, once again, it's going to be different. So compared to my G sharp minor, this note is going to be the 4th, this one is going to be the 5th, this one is going to be the 9th, and this one is going to be the minor 3rd. So we have, if we reorder the notes, it's going to be 2, flat 3rd, 4, and 5. So it's going to sound like a cluster chord. But now it's going to be recontextualized as sad because it's a dark ambient chord on top of a minor key like this. If I sing the notes to you on top of this one, now it's super sad, and then I use some chromatic chords. This is basically a dominant chord in a minor key. It's the lesson from last week. Guys, I think I'm going to run out of cards. I think it's the last one I can put. So I'm going to put in the description box the link to all the lessons that I'm talking about. So this chord is basically a D sharp major, but in an inversion here. So this chromatic movement makes it even more sad. So we have a very different mood, right, from this one. But now it's a different mood because the key is different and the chords make the notes sound different, right? The third example, I started from a E minor chord. So if we look at the 2 notes in the middle of our cluster chord, these notes are so dissonant compared to our E minor chord. So it sounds like horror music because since our notes are so dissonant compared to our chord here, we have a different mood. So it's more unstable and more dissonant. The 4th version, I used a C sharp minor. So we already said at the beginning of the lesson that this is the root, the 2nd, the major 6th, and the flat 7th. And I decided, since it's in the key of C sharp minor, that it would be reminiscent of a Dorian mode. That's why I used the major 4th chord, link in the description box because I have no cards. Because the 3rd of this chord here is the major 6th, and the major 6th fits right into a Dorian mode. So now I have a different mood. So now it sounds epic because it's a Dorian mode. Now I know that I'm going everywhere right now, but I would just want you to keep the principle that notes of your melodies and your riffs are tied to a function regarding the key of the song or the chord that you are in. So if you want to have a happy mood with your melody or your riff, you have to choose notes you have to tie the notes to a major scale so it sounds happy. If you tie the function of the notes to a minor scale, it's going to sound sad. If you tie the function of the notes of your melody to a Lydian or Dorian mode, this is going to sound dreamy. If you tie them to very dissonant notes, this is going to sound like horror music. So you see the principle. What you have to get good at is to look at each of the notes of your melody and find what is the function in a given key or on top of a given chord. It takes a lot of time to be good at it, but I can assure you that this is going to be a tremendous tool to write the music that you want and find the chord progressions that you want. This is really the best tip I could ever give you if you want to create just the right mood for your song. Okay? So now, before I go too far, I'm gonna end the lesson here. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, and take my free mini course in the description box. I have exercises, chord charts that you can download. You can ask me questions on my website. This is a tremendous free resource for you that you can use. So just sign up. It's my gift to you in the description box. Okay, if you have questions, use the comment section. I know it's a lot, and don't forget to go see the cards here and in the description box to come back to some points of the lesson and learn more chord shapes or more progressions or more concepts that I have talked about today. Hope it wasn't too confusing, and until next time, au revoir.